Wow, look at the snow! Such dense snowfall! This gives me the Christmas feeling! White Christmas! I need to take my plate. You hear this? It's the hail. Impressive sea steak, sir.
Hello Seawolves and welcome back to the show. I got a lot of questions about snow, if the skippers encounter snowstorms on their way to the Southern Ocean, and I guess, well, now you have the answer to that question. I hope you all have something delicious in your maybe Seawolf mug. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, cheers!
Hi everyone, it's Sam on Vulnerable. We're here having a tea with the Queen. Just to give you a little bit of an update. So we're here about 2,500 miles from Cape Horn, in the middle of the Pacific, and we've had a busy few days. The night's just gone and we've had a bunch of squalls coming through with anything from 20 knots to 40 knots, which is quite difficult and quite a big sea state. So makes it quite difficult to sail overpowered, so we've been sailing quite a lot frustratingly underpowered to make sure we don't break anything. And looking at the speeds of everyone else around me, it seems to be like it's the case for everyone. So hopefully it'll calm down and we'll be able to put some more sail area up and get moving again. And otherwise we've been fairly busy on the boat. I've had a bit of splicing to do. Had to repair a tack line cover which broke, to remember how to use the splicing needles again. I did it a few times. We've got a leak in the boat. There's I think one of the keel lips has come off, so there's water being pushed into the keel box and it's under pressure the whole time. And that's leaking in through one of the seals, which means I have to pump water out the boat every 6 hours or so. Nothing too serious. And the water pilot let go for an hour yesterday, just no real explanation, just stopped working. We essentially looked for everything and ended up turning it off and on and again, and it worked, which is not very reassuring, but there you go. Feels like the boat's, there's got lots of little kind of creaks and crones everywhere and it's getting a little bit tired, so it's time to go to a nice light spot and have a full check of everything and make sure we're in good shape. So hopefully that will come soon, probably after Cape Horn. Cape Horn at the moment is looking like just under a week away, so we'll go around the 28th. So yeah, we've got just under a week of Southern Ocean sailing, and then hopefully going up the Atlantic, we can have a bit of a check on everything, make sure everything's okay. There you go. So that's news from on board Vulnerable. See you soon. Still wet outside.
Sam doing a great job there, holding on in 10th position. And yeah, so the big battle over the last 24 hours, not so far away from Sam, actually around the 7th and 8th position between Boris and Yannick Bestaven. And very cool that actually in the moment when Boris finally overtook Yannick for 7th place, both of the gents were actually filming. So some very cool images again from both sides of that story. Take a look.
C'est Boris! Génial! On se croise, c'est chaud! En plein milieu du Pacifique, quoi!
So a very good day for the Boris fans. He switched to 7th position, and if you look at the tracker, he's actually extended that lead a little bit. So he's now some miles ahead. What is it? Yeah, let's see, about 6 or so, 7, maybe 8 miles ahead of Yannick. So you know, opening up a little bit of a lead. And he's also very to the south of the sort of the next group over, where we have Jeremy Bijou and Holcim, of course, Nicolas Lundven and Thomas Royant on vulnerable. So he's in a good position. We'll get into if there's maybe any possibility for Boris, since a lot of Boris fans, of course, watching also, to actually maybe could he get to position 6 or 5 at some point in the Southern Ocean. Maybe we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Many people reporting that it was kind of one of the more cold nights of the race so far. Check Clarisse showing us.
Il y a un indice qui montre qu'il fait pas chaud dans ma cabane. Vous voyez? Il fait chaud. Non, il fait pas chaud. Il est humide. Et les plus observateurs auront vu que la technique du sopalin marche toujours. J'ai les mains... Pourtant j'en prends soin, mais bon, dans le sel et tout...
And look at this cool update from Conrad Coleman, who's literally sailing on his A1 right now in some very light breezes.
Never underestimate how exciting dry boots can be. Yes, fantastic. It feels not like the normal Southern Ocean, because it's not wild and crazy. Full sun, and get this, full sun, and finally dropped the A5, little Jinnica, up there for weeks now. And then also, look at this, got the jockey pole back in action. This broke a week or so ago, and so I've fixed all that with new carbon fiber. No matter what the conditions, you can be assured that I am pushing as hard as I possibly can. No holidays going on out here. Even though it's not always clear that, well, that I'm doing the best that I can, because there's a bit of a elastic going on. I got within 50 miles of Violette, and then with the passage of the last front, well, the wind changed for me, and it didn't seem to have changed a great deal for her. I had to do these big zigzags north, and then I jibed over and went south, and then now I'm sort of on the port drive again. And she just went due east at full speed. So I don't know what kind of black magic that was. But yeah. Anyway, happy to get the big spinnaker up and use the full power of that sail to sort of drag me up underneath New Zealand. The weather situation is pretty light and complicated for the next couple of days. As yet unsure as to which way to go. Either north, like I'm doing now, or I see that Kali is diving south down to the exclusion zone, which looks like it's going to be guaranteed to shut off. No wind down there, so maybe there's more wind up north. That's what it looks like. So that's where I'm going. But the two models are very uncertain. Looking at the European one and the American GFS, and kind of trying to calibrate which one is the most accurate at the moment, and it's not very clear. So fingers crossed. In the meantime, I'll go as fast as I possibly can, but where? Who knows?
And just as I turned on the camera, I saw that Conrad also just did an interview with Andy, talking a little bit about sleep and working and doing some jobs and electronics problems that he's been having. Also very interesting. Take a look.
G'day, Andy. Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. It's getting pretty chilly. The sun's gone down. It's the middle of the night here. But I had a glorious day with full sun and even got to dry my boots out today. But now in the night, it is freezing cold. And we're making slow progress with light winds at the moment.
Conrad, do you have a time to get through the jobs list then in the sunshine?
I did. With the lighter winds, I was able to get the big sails out, which meant that I could drop the normal sort of Southern Ocean sails to the deck, unfurl them, sort of patch them up a little bit, and then I've got some electronics work and some hydraulic work as well. Underway, so yeah, I sort of have a bit of a chuckle to myself when people ask me if I get bored on board, because there is a never-ending jobs list to try and keep a boat like this fully functional, and thus far I'm staying on top of the jobs list, but only just.
Conrad, how do you pace yourself through the jobs list? Because at the same time, when you've got this lighter weather, you still have to rest. Yeah, typically I rest when the boat is fully powered up and we've got got all the wind we need. Sort of stereotypically, people think people think that we can rest when it's light, but actually, if you've done a race like this, or if you look at the videos of everybody, as soon as they finish complaining about the light winds, then they start talking about all the jobs that they get going. And typically, we can sleep when we're in 25 or 35 knots of wind. But when there's 10 knots of wind, there's jobs to do. But there is going to be a monster depression that's going to be trucking its way through the Tasman Sea between New Zealand and Australia over the next couple of days. And that's what's leading me to have a sort of more northerly position than the guys that will sort of dive down to the south, because I would see lots of sort of disquieting blue calms down in the south. And I'm going depression hunting up in the north to try and get some breeze to get me through New Zealand. How close do you see yourself getting to New Zealand?
Sadly, I'll have to wave from a distance, Andy.
All right. Okay.
I'm not going to be able to see anybody there for Christmas.
So Conrad is currently still on his B autopilot, but work's on the way and very close now to maybe being able to enable his first, main autopilot again. So I hope it all works out in the end. So, and with that, let's dive into the tactics, and boy, is it getting interesting in the front of the fleet. So I talked yesterday about the fact, what are really the differences between Yoann Richome's and Charlie Dalin's boats, as they're respectively kind of dueling it out in the front now. And we already seen that yesterday they kind of first entered into that situation that really favors Yoann a bit, because his boat is really optimized for that VMG downwind sailing in the Southern Ocean. Even though Charlie's boat is of course also amazing at that, Yoann is just a little bit more optimized for that. And we've seen that over the last 24 hours, this has now actually translated into a slight lead for Yoann. So Yoann has taken the lead now, and he's about so 35 miles ahead of Charlie now. So very interesting. But if we look at what, so if we take the routeages out here and fast forward, you will see that they're going to get a pretty amazing circumstance as far as weather goes. Take a look. So they're going to be kind of following the kind of the strong weather, like just right in front of it. And as you can see, the current prediction shows that it's very likely that they're going to be able to get past Cape Horn without ever making a single additional maneuver. So no more tacks, no more jibes, just 2.5, maybe 3 full days from now on of just full on sending it in winds that are like 15 to about 25 knots, not much more than that. So pretty much like green to yellow wind if you look at the screen here, which is ideal for Yoann Richomme. All of it is more or less downwind until they actually get past the Cape. As you can see here, kind of as they get past the Cape, that's the first situation where, oh, I have to actually follow the guys, otherwise at that point they're going to get some winds, as you can see here, that's more like ahead, so they're going to be sailing more a bit like on a Bemis Reach sort of upwindish situation. But more or less until they pass the Cape here, they're going to have the same wind, slightly from the back, slightly from the side, and always kind of staying in that 18, 19, 20, maybe 25 in the gusts sort of wind range, which is going to be ideal circumstances for Yoann to take a little bit, kind of to really make his advantage work. And so the prediction now also shows Yoann coming out of sort of Cape Horn, coming out of the Southern Ocean in first place. And I think also like with the weather is like the prediction is now 2 days ahead for Cape Horn, so that's pretty we're getting into pretty reliable territory there. And so it looks like Yoann, in a brilliant tactical way, kind of found the ideal moment to sort of attack. So he's I guess in full attack mode now. And since I mentioned also yesterday that the rest of the way, so as soon as they get past the Cape, more or less the entire rest of the way, depending on, unless Yoann gets extremely lucky, favors Charlie a little bit as far as the setup of his particular boat. So yeah, the next like 4 days is going to be very interesting to see, does Yoann actually manage to maybe extend this lead or actually hold on to it as they pass past Cape Horn, and then what's going to happen as they transition right into kind of more headwind situations which favor Charlie a little bit more, and how long will it then take for Charlie maybe to like sort of get back and regain first place again from Yoann, or will Yoann be able to actually hold on to it? At least in any ways, I think this is now the moment for Yoann to get this lead extended as far as he possibly can, so he has some space to work with to see if he can then hold on to it all the way to the finish line. So pretty crucial time in front there. Sebastian, I should say. Sebastian is going to get a pretty different crossing of the Cape. So if we focus in on him here and kind of do the same thing, you see that he's a little bit less lucky, I guess you could say, as far as the weather. So the two gents in front nicely right ahead of the strong stuff, while Sam is going to kind of get the full brunt of it. So he's already in like 30, 40, this is going to be like, probably 45 and up wind. And also, as you can see, it's kind of heading in front of him. So this is going to create big seas at the Cape, and also it looks like just distance-wise, he might have to make another jibe right in front of the Cape there, which is probably going to be in like pretty tough sea state. So it looks like Sebastian is going to have one of those crazy balls Cape Horn passings that are so legendary. So I expect if he has time to shoot some footage, it's going to be some pretty amazing footage coming from on board there in those days. So that's pretty cool to look forward to. So we have the group here basically led by Thomas Frouillant, who, by the way, should be mentioned, has held on to his 4th place pretty much since they entered the Southern Ocean. So that's also a monumental feat, staying ahead of Jeremy Bijou, staying ahead of Nicholas Lundven, and just more or less leading this whole sort of wolf pack here in the front the entire race. And he shows no signs of letting up or giving way to anybody. So in that sense, is also very he's sort of a little bit undersnowed because he's not in the front group, but you know, he's still leading actually the rest of the race and has been doing that the entire time, so pretty damn impressive. Well, I think the interesting thing here is you can see that the stronger wind's a bit coming from the back. So if we pick Boris here and play this forward, you can also see that you know, this front group a little bit in some lighter stuff, while the rest of the group is a bit more south and has a bit some stronger winds coming from the back. So they'll again be able to use that wind a little bit earlier than that other group. So it stands to reason that we might see a little bit compacting there of that particular group again. As you see, the back group kind of really skirting the ice exclusion zone, while the rest, you know, having to kind of jump up again to find more wind as is a bit more lighter ahead of him. And then we get to kind of an interesting, you see Chirel here in the route just going like far north, and you see that the rest of that first group is doing that also. And that's because we have this kind of little high pressure there, so that's an area without much wind, forming kind of in the wake of this low pressure, like a lot of wind moving through there. And as that moves down, it's going to get sort of straight in the way, and so they're trying to kind of avoid those light winds, trying to get more north where there's more wind in order to kind of get past it. And we can see that also, so Boris and yeah, they don't really have a choice to go around that. So they're going to sort of sail smack into that, you know, in a day or two as that sort of moves down. And then we see that the top group sort of has to make a long way to kind of get over it, while the bottom group kind of has to wait. And the end result is that the road for the front group is that much longer that actually once the weather passes and you see they kind of all get kind of back together on the route, that actually not much has happened, and that actually distance-wise, I think it favors the second group still. So they're still going to end up a little bit closer. So say Boris in 7th is going to end up a little bit closer actually to Nicholas Lundven and Jeremy Bijou after that whole maneuver, trying to kind of avoid it, than before. So it's a bit of a, you know, making a lot of effort to avoid low wind with very little to gain, as it looks like from my perspective anyway. Then we have Sam Davis and Clarisse Kramer and her group. So if we move to the moment kind of now, we see that they're still sailing upwind. So again, a bit weird sailing upwind, because that's really not what you're expecting to do. And they too have this kind of high pressure area that's sort of in the wake of this strong low pressure moving through, kind of right in their way. So it is slowly moving in their favor, but if we look at their routages, we see that this high is sort of moving up and west, and they can kind of sort of skirt underneath there, but it is going to be in very light winds. So you can see that kind of all the boats behind them slowly catching up a little bit as they're, you know, very slowly kind of making their way through there. Then winds near the ice skates getting a little bit more stronger again. And so after that, pretty much for the next 2 days after, it seems that they're finally going to just have some good, you know, not super extreme wind, but as you say, kind of a beautiful, nice orange color to move through, and they can kind of regain that distance that they lost on the boats behind them coming up while they were being a bit more slow. And if we zoom out kind of to the rest of the fleet, we see that Isabelle Joschke still, you know, nicely ahead of Jean Le Cam there in 18th position again, while Giancarlo Pedotte and Alan Rora, who, you know, were very close to Jean because of some very light patches in the weather, have kind of fallen behind quite a bit again. So that's kind of interesting that we have like a new split in that fleet, kind of because we have this like big ridge here, with a big ridge with just absolutely no, like zero wind after that, like right here, which pretty much, you know, Louis Duke, Alan Rora, Benjamin Fair, and Tanguy all kind of got stuck in. So Giancarlo Pedotte, he's sort of just out of it and making good speed now, but the rest, I guess, have to wait to kind of go through there. So interesting to see that where I expected that it would be ultimately Isabel Joschke and Giancarlo and Alan Rora kind of being able to really run off now, because they had sort of that position right next to Jean, with Isabel actually ahead. But somehow Leroy Jean again managed to kind of sneak his way through and back into that 18th position again, and still leading the non-foiler fleet. Now that same ridge of light weather is sort of in the way of Conrad. We have Eric Bellon, we have Arnaud Boiseries. They're all kind of, you can see there's this just giant mixed bag of some pretty confused weather due to that large risk there, just right off the coast of Tasmania, Australia, there on the western coast. And then the rest of the fleet, yeah, as you can see, still like incredibly spread out. Jean Genjou still making his way now almost to Cape Lou, and I think he'll get there in the next like 24 hours probably. And in 34, Coupe de Pouce, and still sort of ending the fleet, we have Dennis from Weinberg. So that's it again for the technical update for today. Hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and see you again in 24 hours. And so normally we have on Monday the Q&A, but because I have an extremely busy day tomorrow with other things, there will be a show, but not a Q&A show. So the Q&A will be on Tuesday. But please leave all your questions for the Q&A in the comments below, and see you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao!